Alright, we got a new clutch for the Banshee. We're going to be replacing that. It was slipping a little. So the first thing I like to do before I install the clutch is let it soak into oil you're using for at least like a half an hour. Just let it all soak in so the fibers are already like saturated. Come in blabbing. Not that cold. Alright, so I got the clutch apart now. And you can see the basket's pretty worn out. Like, you see the grooves there. So, probably should get a new basket, but, you know, on a budget here. And in the manual it says just to file them down a little bit. Try to make them smooth. That's what I'm going to try to do. Alright, so I got them filed down a little bit. I didn't want to go crazy and take off too much metal, but it's a lot smoother now, just with those little pits. And then, clutch has been soaking for a while now. So these are the stock springs here. You can see how soft they are. These are the aftermarket springs, much, much stiffer. So I don't want the clutch to be too hard, so I'm going to put 3 of these, and then 3 of the original ones, just to so it has more engagement, but it's not too hard to pull the lever in. So now it's just time to put it back together. Alright, we're going to start putting it back together now. First, I'm going to start with the friction plate. Put that in. Then take one of your steel discs. So, on the edge of there's a rounded edge and a sharper edge. You want to put the rounded edge going in towards the engine. And you want to line this nub up with the first post there. So about like that. Keep it close to line up with that, because you want to rotate them 60 degrees every time. Then the next friction disc. It's very important to make sure that you keep the rounded edge over. I got all the plates installed now. So there's a small arrow right there. You have to line up with the arrow on the pressure plate. Make sure that goes in there. Alrighty, there we go. Yep, and the right one. Alright, so now, taking the springs. There we go, holding it all the way. Alright, got the springs in. Half the old springs, half the new springs. Now it's time to just snug them up. Alright, once you get those torqued down, take your torque wrench, set to 7 foot-pounds. Start going slowly on those. Alright, they're all torqued down. Now I just have to adjust the push rod. 7 foot-pounds is very light. It's basically just snug and then a little bit more. So you just have to be careful you don't over-tighten those or the clutch isn't going to act right. Alright, now to adjust the clutch, it's a little tricky to show you by myself. So, normally, see my case is cracked here, but there's normally an arrow right about here, about where the case normally goes up here. So what you want to do, take this, and that little notch there should line up. Picture if there was a arrow here, a little bit on this side of it. So I normally just go on this side of the case. And how do you do that is you screw that Phillips in clockwise to push it this way, or counterclockwise to pull it farther. And then you just tighten that 12 mil there down to about 5 foot-pounds. Alright, everything's done. New clutch is in, basket's been filed down, clutch is adjusted. So I got the new gasket here. Being careful to line that up. Just like that. Alright. Then I'm going to take the side cover on. Everything's lined up. You gotta be really careful not to rip your gasket. Looks good. Alright, now that's when we start bolting it down. Now, I got a bolt kit to replace all the old Phillips head screws because they were pretty stripped and just a pain to work with. I got fresh bolts. Should make it a lot easier working on it in the future. Alright, side cover's back on, water pump cover's on. Still have to get the insert piece to go there. We're going to get a billet one of those. It's going to look good.